The Lived Experience Evaluation Project, LEEP, funded by Bradford Council, is being led by Create Strength Group, a Bradford-based lived experience recovery organisation, LERO, formed in 2015. Create Strength Group specialises in support to chronic users of cannabis, spice and emerging substances and their families. Create Strength Group hosts mutual aid support groups across West Yorkshire and online, where experience and advice are shared in a safe, non-judgmental, abstinence-based user-led environment. The group's services also include training and research. LEEP is seeking the views of those with lived and living experience of alcohol and drug issues across the Bradford district. This includes family members, loved ones, local residents and businesses affected by someone else's addiction. Informed by the UK Government's 10-year drug and alcohol plan, From Harm to Hope, and Dame Carol Black's independent review of drugs highlighting lived experience recovery organisations, the findings and recommendations from LEEP are being used to help shape the future of treatment and recovery in Bradford.
Can you briefly introduce yourself?
My name's Naz. I work for Create Strength under the New Vision contract that we've got in Bradford.
Can you describe your journey into addiction?
Yeah, my addiction was cannabis.
How did you start your recovery journey?
Coming to one of the Creative Strengths programmes, it really kind of opened my eyes, and that's where I got the support from others who had been there and done that.
Naz, could I ask, how is recovery from addiction, how's that perceived within your community?
Within the South Asian community, there's nothing out there. It was a taboo, it was brushed under the carpet, and also it was known as it's more of a predominantly a white kind of a thing that, programmes available. There was nothing within our own communities, and then realising that there was something that I could go to outside of my community to get that support. It was quite nice because colour didn't matter and neither did your religion, It was there for Bradford and it was beautiful.
What's your current job?
At the moment I'm a group worker for Create Strength under the New Vision project. It's given me the opportunity to work with certain organisations like Flourish, where I'm at, where I'm based, and also Project 6 in Keighley. We run sessions, emotional wellbeing programmes. I'm a support mentor with my other colleague, running sessions around legalised cannabis. Also, I'm working within the communities of the South Asian communities, especially around mosques and certain areas where I found that there wasn't any help before.
Bradford's Addiction Recovery Service has supported 61% of people with their addiction.
How does your lived experience help in the work you do, and how does it help your clients?
I've had clients come to me and, it starts off with, well, what do you know about cannabis? And I'm like, well, my passion has come because I've been there and I've done that. And I believe they are listening to me because of that. It kind of resonates with them and they just see that click in the face.
What advice would you give to someone who's on the road to recovery and abstinence if they were interested in doing a job like yours?
You can and will one day become one of the best workers that you won't believe it at the start. I never did, but it's when I've started to work with people, having that group work with them and giving my side of it, realising that I am making a difference. There's an opportunity that if more people who are coming through the service, people with experience, they can give that back and that information back. I think you'd probably make one of the best workers out there, to be honest with you.
Can you please briefly introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name's Tom. I'm part of the Create Strength Group Recovery Academy.
Can you describe your journey into addiction?
Yeah, I started using when I was 15, weed here and there, and then by the time I was about late teenager, I was using it every hour of every day to self-medicate for depression and anxiety. I then got introduced to cocaine when I was in my early 20s, used every couple of months, and then it got to every hour of every day.
80% of people in Bradford's addiction recovery community have suffered from periods of depression.
How did you start on your recovery journey?
I didn't know about recovery at first. My ex-partner introduced me into recovery. I kind of went there to people please, but it always stuck in my mind that there was something out there for people like me. And then I hit rock bottom after rock bottom. Lost my house, lost my partner, lost most of my possessions through selling them for drug money. And then I found Create Strength group, where I've been attending now for, over 5 years.
You mentioned the Recovery Academy. Can you tell us a little bit more about that, please?
Yeah, the Recovery Academy is basically a scheme for people that have gone through Create Strength group volunteering, where they give you up to 16 hours a week that don't interfere with benefits, and it kind of prepares you for future work within the recovery sector. My lived experience helps me because I understand the difficulty addicts face when they're trying to get clean. It allows me to empathise with them, understand them better, and more importantly, I also understand what recovery has to offer and how better life gets.
What advice would you give to someone who's on the road to recovery and abstinence if they're interested in working in the recovery sector?
If I was to give advice to someone in recovery who's trying to get a job within the services, the first thing I'd say is remember you're in recovery and your recovery needs to come first. Another piece of advice I'd give is do some research into what courses are available out there. Myself, I did the health and social. I also did facilitator training through Create Strength Group. The final piece of advice I'd give is to make the most of the support that's there.
Hi, my name's Suzanne. I'm a recovery coordinator for New Vision Bradford. I'd always had an issue with substances right from the first time I drank alcohol at the age of 14 to blackout, and it had always just come back to substances, heroin, crack, just anything I could get my hands on really.
Alcohol is the drug of first choice for 26% of Bradford's addiction recovery community.
And can you tell us, how did you start your recovery journey?
I'd got to a point in life where it was just chaos all the time, and I knew I couldn't go on living like that. I needed help. So it was a local church that got me in touch with Piccadilly Project, as it was then, back in 2012, 2013 in Bradford. And I managed to get sober before relapsing, and then spent 5 years back in heroin addiction until 2019, when what I call found recovery, because I knew what I'd done wrong last time, and I just tried to throw myself into everything that was available.
Can you tell us a little bit about your current job and how long you've been doing it?
So I'm a recovery coordinator working with the high needs opiate users mainly. They come into treatment, we get them stable on a script, and then I will see them every 4 to 6 weeks for psychosocial interventions, where we work on sort of CBT, their thought processes, and try and get them, as the medication goes up, their using comes down, and we get them to a place where they're just reliant on their opiate substitute therapy, and move them forward through recovery.
And how does your lived experience help you in the role that you do?
I don't always share that I'm in recovery myself. I feel I think it will help them to know that I am. I will share a bit about myself with them, but it's not about me, it's about them. But I think if I can show empathy in whatever's going on at that present time, and that just to give them some hope that they can come out of it and live, a very productive, happy, peaceful life.
And what advice would you give to someone who's on the road to recovery and abstinence and they were interested in helping others and working in this sector?
Speak to people about your end goal being a job in services, and take on the advice that's on board. Look at volunteering, try different roles, look at your IT skills, look at doing courses, keep busy, keep momentum going until you get to a place where, people want to employ you.
Can you please briefly introduce yourself?
My name's Don. I do a bit of voluntary work for Create Strength, and I'm a volunteer on the Gym Buddy scheme. I've got quite a bit of knowledge through fitness training. I've been in the army.
Tell us a little bit about your journey into addiction, Don.
The journey in addiction started when I worked on the door. My addiction was cocaine, and then to get off the cocaine, I started on the cannabis, and then the cannabis become even a bigger problem. So I went to recovery, I got into the gym, then I got into the gym buddy scheme to help other people that have been there that long, been clean quite a while. Yeah, gym buddy scheme is just to help people get fit. I mean, when people come off drugs and everything, they still feel a bit down. And I think it's just when your body's used to drugs going in it all the time, it's like a diesel car, you put petrol in it, it don't work right. So this is why you have to do with the health and fitness, you're putting goodness back into your body. Now we're training for 3 months, and then after 3 months, hopefully they can train others. It does help people because when you're coming off drugs and everything, you're at your lowest point in your life. Helps at your lowest point and helps bring you around a little bit quicker. Feeling better about yourself, getting in shape a little bit better.
45% of Bradford's addiction recovery community say that housing and mental health support are the most important support services, in addition to recovery services.
I just enjoy doing it. I enjoy teaching people. I'm trying to give a little bit back, you know, when they help me.
How does your lived experience, Don, help in this gym buddying scheme?
Yeah, lived experience, I mean, because I've been there and I can understand it. And when they're talking to me, I know exactly what to do with them.
Could you please briefly introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name's Wayne Redmond, I work at LEEP Project.
And can you describe your journey into addiction?
Yeah, I first started smoking cannabis, I must have been about 12 or 13. I think I'd drunk before that, but I'd kind of had a bad reaction to drink, so it's kind of cannabis what route I took. Then it was party drugs, and then it kind of escalated. I'd get in trouble with police and ended up heroin and crack, and I did that for 20 years.
In Bradford, 35% of people with lived experience of addiction have been convicted of a criminal offence as a result of their addiction.
And how did you start on your recovery journey?
I first came into recovery in 2012. I'd been released from custody, so that was 12, 13 years ago. I stayed in recovery for 2 or 3 years that time, didn't kind of work out for me. Eventually came back into recovery in end of 2018, so there were a daycare centre, a cafe, similar to Flourish, which I attended, and there were loads of different groups. I attended Cannabis, Spice and Legal Eye group, and then I've been clean since then, so it's like going on 5 years.
So what is your current job and how long have you been doing it?
So my current role is Dram Navigator service, so I lead on that service, and it's working with domestic abuse perpetrators at a standard and medium risk. So yeah, it's kind of working with people similar to a journey that I'd been on apart from domestic abuse, but all the issues are the same.
How does your lived experience help in the work you do, and how does it help your clients?
So having lived experience, I think I can understand where these people are at, and I can understand that, you know, their thoughts, the feelings, the way, you know, the way they see the world really, and just having that empathy for them. You know, I do see, although it's domestic abuse and, you know, I don't like the act, I know how they got there, and I try to see the person and not the act really.
What advice would you give to someone who's on the road to recovery and abstinence if they were interested in working in this sector?
I think for me, you know, what I didn't understand is that I needed some type of education, and that's something that really helped me. I think being around the right people that encouraged me to sort of learn to use a computer, you know, go do some courses, and it was a snowball effect really. You know, I started off doing a volunteer programme at Bridge Project, and I was just encouraged to carry on learning. Have a focus on where you want to be, and just keep moving forward, no matter how you're feeling.
These stories clearly demonstrate the benefits of supporting people with lived experience of addiction through recovery to abstinence, volunteering and ultimately highly productive roles in the recovery sector. There is a valuable opportunity to recruit more people from Bradford's recovery community to help and support others on their own journey from addiction to hope.